Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or as we like to say here at Shady Acres Woodshop, howdy. I decided to make what I'm going to call a bud vase. Some people call them weed pot, twig pot. I'm going to call this a bud vase, and I'll describe what I believe is the difference a little bit later. I found this piece of wood. This is from my childhood home. Where my mom lived for 57 years. I lived there for 20 years or so. This was cut down about 25 years ago. I've got another 2-foot section of this. Plus I think I have more somewhere. But this has been sitting in the shop. So this is going to be a bud vase. It's roughly 3¼ or 3½ this way, 4¼ this way. So it's an oval. As I've said before, I'm not very good at imagining what it is I'm trying to do. When I typically set out on the lathe, I think, well, it's a lathe, I'm going to make something round. And so often I will grab a piece of wood and I'll turn it round, and then all of a sudden I'm sorry I did that, because I wished I would have not gone so far. I wish I wouldn't have taken away some of the nature part of the wood, which is what I'm all about. I always like to leave as much of the naturalness of a piece of wood as I can. So because this is oval, what I've decided to do for this bud vase is, you're probably well aware that as this turns on the lathe, it's going to cut away the high parts first, the long part of the oval. It's going to cut that away. And as long as I don't go too far and leave at least at a wide portion these sides untouched, I can leave some bark on here. And that's my intention. So I've laid out a center for this end, along with a layout line for a tenon that I'm going to turn on here, and then we'll chuck it up and make a bud vase. I've installed a drive center in the headstock, in the chuck, and I've got my live center here, so we'll just put this between centers. I'm going to put the tenon end towards the tailstock. And this is all about, like I said, the key here is knowing when to stop. So let me get my mask and face shield on, and we'll get to turning. We'll be turning at about 900 RPM. And I need a dovetail on there, so I'll just do that with a skew. And that should work. I don't think I said how long this is. Started out at 6 inches. There's bug holes on this end, and that's why I chose this end. This will be narrower, and it'll have a neck on it, and then it'll be bulbous down here like an onion, and then curve under towards the headstock. So I'm just working up a shape here, nothing in mind exactly. I want to sneak up on this bark because I don't want to just wipe it out. This neck is way too big, but I'm just working it out, working out a design as I go here. Okay, I've adjusted the tool rest because I want to work on the bottom here, and I am going to go with my 1/2-inch spindle gouge. Pick the speed up here about 1050. Just nibbling away at that bark. So I told you I would tell you what I believe is the difference between a weed pot or a twig pot and a bud vase. And to me, this is the difference. I don't know if that's right or not, but if you drill a hole and insert one of these, then you can actually put water in here and stick a flower bud in, and it'll live for a few days. So that's what I'm going to do here. I have two different sizes. This is glass, and I have hundreds of these. I got them at a yard sale. This is plastic. This is 1/2 inch. Drill a 1/2 inch hole. This is 5/8 of an inch. I'm going to go with the plastic one, mainly because I've made a few of these in years past. I haven't made any for quite some time, and when you give it to somebody, they always turn it upside down, and the glass gizmo falls out and breaks. So I've installed a 5/8 inch bit in my chuck, and I'm just going to drill a hole just about the full length of the shaft of this bit. Now I just want to kind of bevel this in towards the hole. The great thing about these weed pots or bud vases, whatever you want to call them, is you can make them any shape you want. And you can make them out of a piece of scrap, bark, no bark, natural, not natural, whatever you want to do. This is just one particular shape that I kind of like. I sanded up through 600 grit, applying sanding sealer inside all of the bug holes and all over the whole piece. So that looks like I've covered the bug holes pretty well. So now I'll just put it on with this heavy duty paper towel. So I'll go ahead and just finish this up and bring you back when it's time to work on the bottom. Not real sure how I'm going to do that just yet. See you in a bit. Okay, the finish is on and done, and now it's time to finish up the bottom here. I'm going to go ahead and do this like I normally do for a bowl. I'm going to cut all the way through while it's on the lathe. So one hand on the tool and my left hand on the switch, and we'll just cut right through that. The bevel of the gouge is pressing against the bottom towards the headstock. And there we go. And now the way I held that on there is, remember I drilled a 5/8 inch hole for my little plastic water vial. So I chucked up a 5/8 inch dowel in the chuck and patted it with some anti-slip material. And so we didn't do any damage. So I'll sand up this little bit left here and put a finish on it, sign it, and I'll be back. So the purpose of this video was just to show that maybe thinking about a piece before you start, like just before you set the chisel to work, might be important as far as what you want to leave on the piece. In this case, if you remember, that I started out with an oval log, and I said the high parts, the long part of the oval, which was this side and this side, would be cut away first, and then the shorter parts of the oval, where the bark is left, would be cut away last. So cut away the long points, leaving the bark. Just something to think about, something that I do not normally think about. Maybe halfway through I'll say, oh duh, that's what I should be doing. More often than not, I get done and I say, oh, I wish I would have. So that was the main purpose of this. Secondary purpose is, this is just a quick 1 to 2 hour project. Makes a nice little gift. You can do these any shape you want to. You don't have to have this insert. This is what makes it a bud vase, in my opinion. This allows you to put water in here and keep a flower alive for a few days. That just drops in the hole. There you go. But you don't need that. You can just have a bare hole and stick a dried flower in there, or whatever you want to do. But go ahead and make a few of these. They make great gifts. Someone does you a favor, whip out one of these some evening in an hour. You got a nice gift. Doesn't have to be a natural piece. Doesn't have to have bark on it. Just any old scrap will do. This is about 3.5 inch diameter, I guess, and about 4 inches high. Quick and easy. I love the bug holes in this one. More pronounced than I thought they would be. And I think they add quite a little bit of character. Bottom turned out fine. Slightly recessed here so it'll sit on the rim. So there you go. If you like this video, thumbs up please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, consider becoming one. I put out regular videos, about 1 a week, and I would like to stay in touch with you. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.